for one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome to Premier League Live this Sunday afternoon for our second game of the day after three huge matches at 2 o'clock, and that big result for Sunderland against Spurs, and a terrible result ultimately for Spurs, and remain in the bottom three. But it is to the top of the table we turn next, and Manchester City looking to chase down an Arsenal side who were beaten at home by Bournemouth yesterday. Can City close the gap to 6 points to the league leaders with a win away at Chelsea? Or can Chelsea close a gap that is above them of their own? 4-point gap to 5th place Liverpool that was created by Liverpool's 2-0 win yesterday. Can Chelsea close that gap to the top 5 and claim what will be a famous victory for Liam Senior under Chelsea as Chelsea boss against Manchester City? That is what's at stake at 4:30. But let's show you really how we got to this point in the title race. Certainly, the race for the title, well, hasn't been much of a race for much of the season. Arsenal have seemingly were running away with the title, but recent weeks and recent results going against them. Defeat in the Carabao Cup final to City, then defeat in the FA Cup quarter-finals to Southampton. And then that defeat to Bournemouth yesterday. 3 defeats in the last 4 games for Arsenal, seemingly unravelling their season. And with 6 games to go now, they still lead by 9 points before City, of course, play today. And then they face each other next Sunday at the Etihad. If City were to win here today and win at the Etihad and win their games in hand that they would still have, then they would be de facto leaders on goal difference. They would be level on points with Arsenal if they were to win those games. And they need to win today to make that a chance. But then that result, if they get it against Arsenal next week, could be even more damaging for Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal don't have an easy run in either. Of course, play Newcastle, Fulham, West Ham, Burnley and Palace. Some tricky games in there away from home as well for Arsenal. For City, of course, the run-in is still a tough one as well, and they need to be almost perfect between now and the end of the season, City, to have a chance at winning the title. One thing they've got in their favour is that they do not have Champions League football. That's something Arsenal do have to be in the mix, but they do have FA Cup action, City, still to worry about between now and the end of the season. But it all comes down to this one today for Chelsea. They have had a gap. Well, they've been at times above Liverpool in the table and been in the top 5. But recent results, 4 defeats in a row for Chelsea, means they're the chasing pack now on the top 5. And a 4-point gap to Liverpool, who won 2-0 against Fulham yesterday. A much needed victory for Liverpool. It's a day where Chelsea need to do the same against, no disrespect to Fulham, but a much more difficult opponent at home for Chelsea than Liverpool had yesterday. Let's have a look at the two teams then for this one, and what is a massive game at Stamford Bridge. Starting with the home side, Chelsea, Robert Sanchez is in goal, a back 4 of Malo Gusto, Wesley Fofana, Jarell Hato and Marco Correa. In midfield, Moises Caicedo alongside Andre Santos. Cole Palmer is in the 10. Estevao off the right, Pedro Neto off the left, and João Pedro leading the Chelsea line. On the bench for Liam Senior's side, Sharman Lowe, Achiempong, Tosin, Lavia, Sar, Asugo, Garnacho, Gui and Delap. Well, for Manchester City, it's been a pretty good run since the Carabao Cup final. Into a FA Cup semi-final as well, thumping Liverpool. And of course now, with a chance today to catapult themselves back into a title race. Gianluigi Donnarumma starts in goal, a back four of Matej Nunes, Abdulkadir Kushanov, Mark Guehi and Nico O'Reilly in defence. Rodri and Bernardo Silva make up the midfield too, with Ryan Cherky in the attacking midfield position. Semenyo off the right, Jeremy Doku off the left, and of course, the Premier League leading goal scorer, Erling Haaland, is up front. On the bench, Trafford, Ake, Reinders, Marmouche, Kovacic, Gonzalez, Aït-Nouri, Foden and Savinho. A scary looking bench, if there is to be one, for Manchester City. And a lot of options if needed. But these two have battled well over the last few years. But a huge day for both of these two teams and what their objectives are. Chelsea want Champions League football again next season. That is their target. They need to bridge the gap to the top 5 if they're going to do so. But City, they have a lot of targets. And the key one today could be right back in battling for the title. Huge game under the pressure that both teams will have for this at Stamford Bridge. Kick-off is next. A very good afternoon and welcome to this one, as the two sets of teams in their huddles get ready for this game. A massive fixture in West London. Liam Senior against Pep Guardiola. Two managers at either ends of their career. Pep Guardiola, who's seen it, done it all, won it all really, and isn't finished at winning things at Manchester City. There is still a lot to salvage from this season for City. They've already put the Carabao Cup to bed. Now to the Champions League, but they've still got the FA Cup and the League possibly still in their grasps. I mean, a treble, a domestic treble could be on the cards for City. That is a possibility. And they get us go and do the visitors. Manchester City here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea in all blue, of course. Manchester City in their third strip, I believe, of that grey with luminous green, which is, no offence, but one of the ugliest kits I've ever seen. Anyway, to the game, and as I said, what a momentum swing it was in the title race yesterday with Bournemouth's victory at Arsenal. A turnaround in form for Arsenal, and I think we talked about it in the Carabao Cup final, how big the result could be for the winner in changing their season, but how bad it could be for the loser of the Carabao Cup final, and how could their seasons unravel. Well, it looks like Arsenal's is coming apart bit by bit, and City want to be there to pick up the pieces if it does all fall apart for Mikel Arteta's team again. They were there a few years ago when that happened. They want to be there to pounce again to Manchester City and snatching another title away from the Gunners when they've been seemingly leading the charge the whole season. You've got to argue at times Arsenal have been a cut above the rest. But City, who started slow, just kept themselves on the coattails of Arsenal. And now with a chance here today to take themselves back within 6 points, with a game in hand, and still to play Arsenal next week. So it is all opportunistic for City. When the opportunity arises, they have to be there to take them. That's what they know now. There's no room for error between now and the end of the season for City. And very little, if any, room for error for Arsenal as well too. Here's Nico O'Reilly, as City have started the better so far. A lot of the ball. Here's Semenyo. Chops onto his right foot. Semenyo beating past Cucurella, who just got back in there in time. This Chelsea defender did just enough to see off Antoine Semenyo. We have a corner here, Manchester City, which Bernardo Silva will take. Taken short. Edge of the box it comes. Back to Bernardo Silva. He's trying to work it around the edge of the area. Nunez with a deep cross, headed across goal towards Haaland, but half cleared away there by Chelsea. And a challenge in there by a player in a blue shirt. That was a massive challenge it needed to be, otherwise Haaland would have had a glorious chance in front of goal. City on the front foot right from the off, and already piling on the pressure early here to Chelsea. Bernardo Silva. Antoine Semenyo. To Cherki. Back to Matej Nunez. Left it comes to Gerhi. And Jeremy Doku. Chelsea penned in their own final third. Gerhi with a switch ball. Played on by Cherki, first time. Cherki feeds it in behind, looking for the runner, Rodri, who got it across, but into the hands of Robert Sanchez. He pumps one up the field, but that's going to be welcome retrieval for Gianluigi Donnarumma. Well, these two certainly know how to find the net in the first 45 minutes. City 35 goals in the first half, 24 for Chelsea, the most in the Premier League, these two. First half goals this season. There's going to be a goal fest that will be between now and half time. Here's Semenyo. Chinks inside Cucurella this time, tracked all the way and ultimately dispossessed by Caicedo. No room for João Pedro, but a loose ball there from Rodri, allows Palmer in. Carried it a little wide for Neto, but he's still alive here. Neto back to Palmer. Works it into space. Palmer still going. And strikes it off the side netting. Really well carved out by Cole Palmer, who started the move and wanted to end it. Did really well. Rodri with a heavy touch, and Palmer was there to snatch it away. And Chelsea escaping on the counter-attack, and as it comes back into the box, Palmer evades another challenge and tries to work himself into a shooting position, which ultimately carried himself too far wide. Hit the side netting with the effort, but a threat there from Chelsea on the counter-attack. After City have been dominating the possession for the first 4.5-5 minutes so far. Well, in terms of Chelsea's recent record, of course, they did put 7 past Port Vale in that FA Cup game. However, in terms of the results before that, 4 defeats in a row, including their last 2 Premier League games they've lost against Everton and Newcastle without scoring in either of those 2 games. As Cucurella was bundled over there by Kushanov. It's going to get Chelsea a free kick. Well, for Manchester City, back-to-back cup wins, one in a final and one in a quarter-final. Their most recent results. However, prior to that, 3 games without a win, 2 defeats to Real Madrid out of the side of a 1-1 draw with West Ham. City without a win in the last 2 Premier League games. Draws with West Ham and Nottingham Forest. The last win was a 1-0 victory away at Leeds at the end of February for Manchester City in the Premier League. A lot of other competitions have taken centre stage really since then. They're without a defeat though, City in the league in 8 games. 5 wins and 3 draws out of the last 8. The last defeat came in the Manchester Derby back on the 17th of January. That's their only defeat of 2026. Which will bode well for them in chasing down Arsenal, but it's not about staying unbeaten. It's about trying to go impeccable for City between now and the end of the season. That's the task at hand. Not an easy one to try and pull off. Oh, a drop ball here for Neto. João Pedro. The shot was blocked by Kushanov. It will be a corner. Again, City very risky around the edge of their own box, and loose passes, loose touches allow Chelsea to pounce upon the opportunities that were left for them. Neto takes it down, finds João Pedro. And as Pedro tries to flick it back across goal, it was blocked behind by Kushanov for the corner, which Pedro Neto will take. Left-footed, right at Doku, who was defending the area, but it's come right back to Neto here. Showed a little too much. Will drop to Gusto. Swung back out to Palmer on the left. Palmer back to Malo Gusto. Bodies in and around the edge of the area here for Chelsea. Not looking to cross at the minute. João Pedro. Malo Gusto. Caicedo lifting towards the area. Kushanov's clearance drops for Palmer. Santos back to Palmer, whose shot was deflected right into the hands of Donnarumma. The deflection just took all the power off it. City looking a little bit unnerved here by the Chelsea press, and they've given it away cheaply there. Getting themselves into trouble early doors here, City. Palmer, lovely turn, and was held back there by Rodri. The referee was right on it, Chris Kavanagh. Yeah, Andre Santos, and it's just a pull on Cole Palmer. It's just lazy from Rodri there. I'm surprised it's not a yellow card as well. The referee just letting Rodri away with that one. Free kick it is then. I mean, very long distance out, but free kick nonetheless for Chelsea here. Looks like Malo Gusto and Pedro Neto are over it. Flick ball in by Neto. Too deep. Goal kick. Nice idea. Again, no one on the end of it there for Chelsea. We've had a decent last few minutes of the home team after they were under a lot of pressure right from the off, but they've responded well. Chelsea have had all 3 shots of the game so far. Here comes João Pedro down the left-hand side. Taking his time on the edge of the box. To Caicedo, slipped a little bit, but he does keep a hold of the ball for the moment. Pedro Neto and Jarell Hato gives it back to Caicedo, who will find a way back to Robert Sanchez. Chelsea in control at the minute. Manchester City clutching at straws a little bit, trying to win the ball back. Palmer, as the flag's going to go up against Estevao there, and that's going to get City a very fortunate free kick, and there's going to be a yellow card as well handed out here to Estevao, I think for kicking the ball away, I would suspect. A bit of a naive yellow card to pick up there for Estevao. First player in the book. Semenyo. Little 1-2 combination with Cherky there, but seen out of play by Fofana, who had to come across. Bernardo Silva. City try and regain a bit of control of this game. Palmer right on the back of Bernardo Silva, but they work it out of trouble well, City. O'Reilly with the space down the left channel here to break forward. Lays it to Doku, just about keeps it in play. Finds a way past Gusto. Doku runs into Palmer, who had the block, but Rodri's there to retrieve again for City. Gerhi finds Kushanov. They step in there. Cherky in a very tight area in the middle. Finds Semenyo. Cherky. Rodri. Across to Kushanov. Chelsea drop off for the moment. City with the ball down the left with Jeremy Doku. Right back into the space towards Gusto. Doku gets it across. Bernardo Silva gets his head, as does Haaland. Haaland then loses the flight of the ball, but luckily from the clearance, his teammates had it under control and City retrieve. Well, they drew the reverse fixture at the Etihad at the start of the year. Tijani Rounders opened the scoring for City right before half-time, before a late Enzo Fernandez equaliser rescued a point at the Etihad for Chelsea. Albeit, Enzo Fernandez not involved here today, will return to the team, Liam Senior said before the game today, but isn't involved. And remember, there was an interim coach in charge of Chelsea then, when they did the draw with City away. Callum McFarlane, if you remember. Feels like a long time ago that happened. But he was in charge and got that point for Chelsea out of Manchester City. And that game finished 1-1. However, though, Chelsea haven't won against Manchester City in any game. Listen to this. They haven't won any game in any competition against Manchester City since the Champions League final in May 2021, when they won 1-0. Kai Havertz scored the winner and Chelsea won the Champions League. They haven't won any game against City since then, in Cup or League. That's 12 games in a row that City have gone unbeaten against Chelsea since that Champions League final. They don't have the best of records, Chelsea, when it comes to beating City. Oh, that's a lovely ball through. Here's Cucurella! Tucks it in the net, but is the flag up? I think it might just be. Yeah, the flag is up. See it here. It's beautiful from João Pedro. Good build-up. Really good ball control, and Cucurella just gets a bit excited that he's got the space in behind, and he runs about a yard offside before the ball's played to him. It's a good finish. He's done it from an offside position. That saves City. And those celebrating inside here, and I'm sure on the red side of North London, are quickly shushed by the offside flag. Here come Manchester City. Down the left-hand side, here's Doku. Charging into the box as he runs into Cole Palmer. But again, Chelsea have it nicked away from them on the edge of their own area. Rodri. Doku again. Doku rolls it through. O'Reilly makes the extra man. And Santos has to make the block. Behind for the City corner. Well, from one end to the other, right away. City under threat at one end, and they're creating the threat at the other end. And they have a corner on this left-hand side. The second corner of the game for Manchester City. Taken short. Rolled back towards Bernardo Silva, who will try and cross it in. It was blocked by Caicedo, but picked up again by Bernardo Silva. Flips it out to Rodri. Back to Nunes. Switch. Doku takes it down confidently. Cherki evading challenges, going for the little 1-2 with O'Reilly, but too much pace on the ball, and referee and man slip up there. Everybody's fallen. And that's a lovely ball by Esteval, who got back to his feet and plays an absolute perler out to Pedro Neto. Evades one challenge, then another, runs into a man. Pedro Neto forcing the good save out of Donnarumma. Big save by Donnarumma, but Pedro Neto was like a man possessed there. Was letting no one get in his way. Shoved off Nunes, shoved off Rodri, and then just rocketed one with his left foot right across goal, and a really good save down to his left side by Donnarumma. Pedro Neto was not letting anyone get in his way there until he had that shot. Corner taken short by Neto. Comes back to Palmer. Now Gusto. Played into Neto, and now Cucurella, and the flag's gone up. That's lazy again from Chelsea. A little lazy there from Cucurella, who just didn't get himself back on side. As we see Cucurella's offside earlier for the goal, it wasn't. And he was a good half yard or so offside. No doubt about that. So far, City still to have a shot in the game. Heading towards the 20-minute mark, but it's very Manchester City-like to score with their first shot. It would be just Manchester City to do something like that. They let you think you've got all the threat, and then they pounce on one chance. That's the threat that this team have. That's the danger that they so desperately pose, really. There's a swung ball in towards Haaland. Cleared away. Cucurella lifts it up the field towards Joao Pedro. Tried his best to guide it towards Pedro Neto, who shoved over Matheus Nunes that time, and that's going to be a foul. Nunes going for the switch ball. Again taken in by Jeremy Doku up against Malo Gusto. Doku jinks beautifully inside 1 and 2. Still blocked. Another shot from the edge. Charged down. Cherki was stolen away from him, and Joao Pedro was bundled over as he was shielding the ball. And that's going to be a Chelsea free kick. Jeremy Doku causing threat there down the left, and Manchester City couldn't add the finish to the class from Jeremy Doku prior to those opportunities. The game, it's got a good tempo about it right now. Still goalless after 21.5 minutes, but I have to say maybe, you can't really say who's edged it, because Chelsea have had all the shots, but City have had all the possession and control. And the shots from Chelsea have been opportunities, but not major goal-mouth chances. Cherki finds Haaland, who tries to use a bit of skill, but he loses out on that occasion. But Rodri's there to win it back for City. Really nicely done. Lofted ball towards Haaland. He held off Fofana and held the ball up really well there, Erling Haaland. As Chelsea get a little bit loose defensively. Ball drops for Cherki here. Try to prod it through towards Semenyo. Space was closed out. And Chelsea can retrieve, but City have won on 3 of their last 4 trips to Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. Actually, scrap that. They've won 4 of the last 5 trips in the Premier League to Stamford Bridge. The only one they didn't win was a 4-all draw in November 2023. I remember that mental game. Madness game. 2-2 after a half-time. City were leading. Led 3 times in that game, Manchester City. And remember that 95th minute penalty from Cole Palmer to equalise for Chelsea. That was his first game against Manchester City. It was the Chelsea player, Cole Palmer, of course his former team. And they have won since, though. They won on the opening day of last season. Here, Manchester City, they won 2-0. Erling Haaland and Mateo Kovacic, another former Chelsea player, scored at the Bridge. Actually, and 3 of those 4 wins that they have away from home at the Bridge in their last few meetings, including each of the last 3, they've kept a clean sheet in those victories. 2-0, 1-0 and 1-0. Those 3 wins for Manchester City. So usually when Chelsea score, they find a way to get something out of Manchester City here, which isn't the biggest of revelations, but it's not often they keep City at bay. This is the last time City came to Stamford Bridge and didn't score in the Premier League was in December 2018, and they lost 2-0. It was the only time as they have failed to score at Stamford Bridge with Pep Guardiola as manager. N'Golo Conte and David Luiz with the 2 goals that day. Well, there's a very famous Chelsea player and a former Chelsea manager as well in Frank Lampard, and did have a spell at Manchester City too. And of course, this is the club that had his heart for all of those years and all of those successful years at Stamford Bridge for Frank Lampard. Of course, the Coventry City manager, of course, looking to be manager when he comes back here next season, it looks like, with Coventry. Be very familiar stadiums to Frank Lampard. His Coventry side joined the Premier League. And of course, we will very much look forward to that day in August. Late August it will be, of course. And 26 minutes gone here at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. The game's had a bit of a lull spell in the last few minutes. And here's Jeremy Doku, though. Picks it up to charge forward here. City have bodies forward. Doku runs into the few blue shirts in his way. And in the end, Nico O'Reilly penalised for a pull on Estevao. That's going to be a free kick. Sanchez goes long. Stolen away by Gerhi, but he steps out of position. Maybe a bit of room for Palmer to try and exploit, but Bernardo Silva there to clean that one up, and Donnarumma wasn't the most confident there defensively in his own area, and just took no risks, put it out for a throw. Durrell Hato. Mark Cucurella. Hato again for Chelsea. Still have only around 30% possession so far in this game to the home team. João Pedro. Lovely play. Gusto. Switch ball out to the left hand side towards Pedro Neto, but cut out well by Nunes. And no way for City to keep that ball. Caicedo into Palmer. Palmer just lost his footing. Rodri again plays a blind pass and gives it away cheaply. Gusto's whip ball, and João Pedro was the target. Just couldn't get a clean connection to it. Great ball, but ultimately didn't have the thrashing finish it probably needed. Beautiful from Malo Gusto though. Swung it in beautifully and just ahead of João Pedro, that delivery. Maybe just half yard off it there, João Pedro, in terms of his run. As Malo Gusto, you could hear the audible cries from the Chelsea right back there when he collided with Jeremy Doku. The referee is going to give a free kick to the home team. See it here. Oh yeah, he just stood on his left toe there, or his left foot, shall I say. Pedro Neto battling with Matheus Nunes and leaves him for dead, and he needed help there. Matheus Nunes, and a bit of cover from Rodri. Will be a Chelsea corner, but Pedro Neto's causing real problems. Certainly physically. I mean, look at this. Made it look effortless there, Pedro Neto. He tries to cross from the corner. Flicked in by Cucurella to the back post, over the head of Donnarumma. And a bit of a goal-mouth scramble. Donnarumma again punches. Brought down by Palmer. Round the outside, Pedro Neto. And the last touch off a City player. But the flag's going to go up anyway. After all that. Well, Gianluigi Donnarumma didn't cover himself in glory there with two aerial battles for the ball that he punched for no real reason. And he's complaining to the referee that he thinks he was fouled, but I mean, get a hold of yourself, really. That's not kids' football. It's a contact sport. Where's the foul here? That's not a foul. You were caught by your own man. That's not a foul. Anyway, here come Manchester City. Jeremy Doku tried to find the run of Haaland, overhit it completely. And Robert Sanchez was there to mop up for Chelsea. The game ebbing and flowing. Which way will it spin next? Both sides having chances. Both sides looking at threats, but to this point, no cutting edge from either team in the final third. But I do have to say, City look a little bit unsettled. A couple of loose touches, a couple of real sketchy moments in possession. Chelsea have looked to pounce upon, and City just haven't covered themselves in glory so far. Doku. And the key driving force for City in an attacking area so far. That's the play back to Rodri, and now Kushanov. Nunes. Wide to the right hand side for Semenyo. Playing it off Cherky. Now back to Nunes. Kushanov finding O'Reilly in the inverted position. He plays it out wide to Jeremy Doku. Looking for a return ball to O'Reilly, who beats past his man momentarily. And Palmer again back defending. Almost gave it away as Gusto helped out and Santos clears. And now a lovely touch by João Pedro, sets himself off here. Donnarumma didn't know whether to come or not, and he did in the end come, Donnarumma, and closed off that chance for João Pedro. And he needed to come, Donnarumma. I mean, again, as I'm saying, the indecisive Donnarumma. He was going back towards his goal and then at the last second decides to come flying out. He was the right decision, but wasn't too sure initially there, Donnarumma, whether to come or to stay back. Guehi out wide to Doku. Doku to O'Reilly. O'Reilly cuts it back, and it's bouncing around the edge of the area. And Robert Sanchez is in the way to snatch onto it again. O'Reilly with a cut back, and it was Bernardo Silva with the first contact with the side foot. And Sanchez threw himself at it and then just gets it into his clutches. His drops for the second time. Look at that, 49% of their attacks, City, have come down that left-hand side. As I said, Jeremy Doku's been the main attacking force for them so far. Very few attacks have come down this right side. Here is Doku again. Every time City come forward, it's through him, it seems, at the minute. 11 minutes or so to go with the first half. Still goalless, but City and Chelsea have given it every chance they've got so far. As I said, both have given it a good go in the first half, without much cutting edge in the final third. One or two goals possibly could have come from this first half, certainly. Cherky. Tiptoeing around the edge of the box, lays it out to Semenyo. Back to Ryan Cherky. And just kind of takes a heavy touch right in front of him, and Pedro Neto's there to snatch it away. Finds Estevao on the right. Estevao on his own there, as he tries to run through Mark Guehi. Guehi tackled and Guehi fouled. And City took the free kick quickly. Given away there cheaply by City again. Caicedo, as Estevao works himself into a triangle of trouble, and in the end Jeremy Doku wrestled down by Andre Santos. That's going to be a City free kick. Not appeasing the home crowd, as you would expect. Doku down the left again for City. Back to Bernardo Silva. Flicks it out to Doku. Wanted to return the ball in again, but too many Chelsea players in the way. Palmer with a key clearance. Guehi. O'Reilly. Bernardo Silva. Not more bodies out on this left-hand side for City. Kushanov. Nunes. Semenyo down the right. Bit of space to run here for Semenyo, but tries to reverse it for Nunes. He gives it away though to Pedro Neto. Has to track back himself for Semenyo, and in the process gives away a foul. And he's going to get a yellow card for his troubles there, Antoine Semenyo. Yeah, it's a cynical challenge. He knew Pedro Neto was getting away from him, and he decided to take him out. And that's a yellow card. 7th of the season for Antoine Semenyo, by the way. 7.5 minutes of the first half to go. Still goalless. But as it stands, Arsenal wouldn't be too unhappy with this. They'd actually be pretty pleased with this scoreline. But Arsenal, apologies. Albeit City will close the gap, but it would remain 8 points with a draw. And even a win next week and the win in the game in hand would still see Arsenal 2 clear of City in the table. That's why we talk about City need to be impeccable if they're to chase Arsenal down completely. Gusto finds Estevao, who had the ball stolen away from him by O'Reilly. O'Reilly to Cherky. Right down the throat of Robert Sanchez again. Better from City though. First real time we've actually seen them win the ball high up the field and really charge at the Chelsea goal, and it's Nico O'Reilly. Does really well. And as he cuts it back to Cherky, he has a go at goal. It is, in the end, comfortably stopped by Robert Sanchez, but a bit better for Manchester City. Rodri swings it out to Semenyo on the right. Again, quickly closed up there was Semenyo, and Joel Hato not letting him go. Gives away the foul. Jesus, Erling Haaland coming about 20 yards back to win the ball back here for Manchester City. Well, Chelsea had the first 4 shots of the game. City have had the last 4 shots of the game. It doesn't tell the full story though. City have probably had the better of the possession the whole way through all of that. They've just started to link things up further forward in the last few minutes. Last 10-15 minutes, but again, still without major concerns for Chelsea defensively. They haven't looked majorly tested at all so far, the home side. First half that has lacked goal threat from both teams. All that can change though, still 5 minutes to go. Doku trying to work an angle to get the cross in. Ultimately a bit of defending there from Chelsea. Puts it behind for the corner. Corner here for Manchester City. A chance from another set piece. Taking shorts. Doku trying to lift it. Blocked there from Palmer. Chelsea can clear it away as the ball dropped to Bernardo Silva here. He's got space down the right to charge into the box. Bernardo Silva seen away well by Cucurella and helped by Pedro Neto. Cucurella. And Caicedo under pressure. Fouled by Rodri. Free kick. Well, Chelsea, as I said, winless in the last 9 Premier League games against Man City. This is a 2-1 away win in May 21. And of course, they won the Champions League in that same month against City. Here's Caicedo. Space here. Santos out to the right hand side for Malo Gusto. Palmer. Caicedo. Maybe it's Chelsea's turn to have a bit of possession. Pose a bit of a threat. It's been a game that has ebbed and flowed in the first half between the two teams. Both sides have had their opportunities. Here's Estevao dribbling into the area. Estevao couldn't find a way through there last. Picked up by Santos. Whips one in deep. And Donnarumma, demanding and commanding his area, is there to stop the Chelsea threats. Well, this recent run for City in terms of that record away at Stamford Bridge, it's as good as they had. It's as many wins as they've had in their last 5 as they had in their previous 26 league visits to Stamford Bridge. So a place that has been a happy hunting ground for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City over the last few years. They want that to continue this afternoon. They probably need that to continue this afternoon. So far, Chelsea have given up a good fight defensively. City have huffed and puffed a little bit in this first half. It's not been the most fluid, not been the most clean-cut first half from Manchester City. It's been a little bit sloppy at times. Bernardo Silva looking for the run of Haaland. Closed out well by Fofana. Now Hato. And Santos back to Sanchez. Ooh, getting a little bit loose there, Chelsea. Rodri picks up, finds Bernardo Silva into Cherki, looking for shirts and options around him. Has to go back the way though. Kushanov tries to swing one out wide. Initially cleared away by Chelsea, but picked up again by Manchester City. Neither side want to keep the possession. Here's Cherki. Cross to Nunes, out to Semenyo. Semenyo cutting across goal, right to the edge of the area. Semenyo! Wide. Deflection though. We'll see a corner. First time we've really seen Semenyo have a charge at goal, and this time he drives all the way infield, right to the edge of the D. Very central, and then just reverses it back across goal towards that far right hand side. Took a touch on the way through from a Chelsea player. It carries it behind for the corner. And as stoppage time we enter, and 1 minute we will have. The end of this first half. Corner delivered in right the way through. It's not a bad ball in. There's no one there to head it in for Manchester City. Dangerous delivery by Bernardo Silva, but no one in the right place at the right time there for City. Well, some thinking for Pep Guardiola and Liam Senior to do at half-time. Chelsea will have a free kick here. João Pedro brought down. This might be the last action of the first half, this Chelsea free kick. Palmer and Neto over it. It will be Pedro Neto to deliver for Chelsea. Right at the end of this first half. Neto swung round the back post. The header is over the bar by Andre Santos. Massive chance. But that is the end of the first half. Probably one of the best for Chelsea. It's come right at the very death of the first period. Poor header from a good delivery. But both sides have really huffed and puffed in this first half. Very little in goal-mouth threat, really. Jeremy Doku's been the best in attack for City. Pedro Neto in the opposite direction for Chelsea. But so far, nothing to separate them at Stamford Bridge at the break. It's half-time. It's Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Your one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal.
Baratskeli is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so.
Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable.
Rice again.
Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it.
Another whip ball in, the header.
Header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. And after what has been a dramatic weekend of Premier League action so far, we are in match 9 of 10. Just one more to come after this one. Manchester United taking on Leeds is the Monday night game tomorrow night. To conclude the weekend, Man United looking to escape the clutches of Aston Villa, who could have went above them today if they'd have won, but Man United remain third and looking to make it a 3-point gap to Aston Villa if they win against Leeds tomorrow. A Leeds side who currently sit 3 points clear of Spurs in 18th and want to go 6 clear if they can win at Old Trafford tomorrow. That is at 8 o'clock. Before all that, second half to come at the Bridge in a few minutes. But as well, a quick recap of all the scores this weekend. West Ham won 4-0 against Wolves at the London Stadium on Friday night. Arsenal beaten for only the second time at home this season. Bournemouth were the winners at the Emirates. A 2-2 draw between Brentford and Everton at the G-Tech. A 2-0 win for Brighton. 4 wins in 5 for Fabian Hurtzler's side as they won away at Burnley. Liverpool were 2-0 winners against Fulham. Palace winning 2-1 against Newcastle today, coming from behind to win 2-1 did Palace. Forest trailing through an own goal, but found their leveller in the first half through Nico Williams to make it 1-1. And Sunderland, again delivering more pain to Tottenham Hotspur with a 1-0 win for Sunderland. Nordi Mukiele's shot deflected past Antonin Kinski to give the goal and the winner to Sunderland, and Spurs still in this calendar year without a league victory. And of course the big second half to come between Chelsea and Manchester City. Can City close the gap to 6 points on league leaders Arsenal, who came into this weekend knowing that it was a decisive weekend in the title race before they play City next week? Can City give themselves as much of an advantage before that game of the Etihad this time next week? They have a big second half to come. That's on the way next. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Let's just show you what the table then looks like at the top as it stands, with City drawing at the moment. Arsenal, of course, they'll remain top no matter what. Obviously, that's quite clear. But it will be an 8-point gap at the top. It will be a third successive draw, by the way, for Manchester City in the league if they were to draw this one, albeit they would still have a game in hand on Arsenal and would still have to play them, so they could possibly go within 2 points of Arsenal if they were to win all those games, and of course draw this one. But a big second half, 0-0 at the break. It means there's still a lot of opportunity for Manchester City at the moment. Chelsea would stay sixth no matter what happens today, but as it stands, a draw would close the gap to Liverpool to 3 points after it was open to 4 yesterday with Liverpool's win. But they want to kind of avoid those teams catching up below Chelsea. That has to be a worry as well for the Blues, that they might be dragged into a real mix of mid-table teams chasing for the final European places. A win today would certainly evade them from that sort of danger. But a big second half to come here at Stamford Bridge, and a first half that was pretty low-key in front of goal for both teams. 5 shots apiece. City had 2 shots on target, Chelsea with 1, but other than pop shots from range or opportunistic chances, hasn't been much big opportunity for either team. And the 2 highest scorers in the first half couldn't find the net in the first here. What have they got for the next 45 minutes as we get back underway at Stamford Bridge for the second half between Chelsea and Manchester City? And a huge next 45 minutes for both of these two teams, as I said, in trying to achieve their objectives. Of course, Chelsea backed this one up with another Manchester game, or a game against the Manchester team next weekend. They have Man United next Saturday night here at Stamford Bridge. Both sides in the FA Cup semi-finals. Chelsea and Manchester City avoided each other in the semi-final draw. So if they win their respective semi-finals, there is a possibility they could meet at Wembley in the middle of next month. And of course, Chelsea, as I said, Man United up next. Then they've Brighton away the weekend, the midweek to come after that, and then they have the FA Cup game against Leeds at Wembley on the 26th, and they've Forest at home, Liverpool away, Spurs at home, and Sunderland away in their final 4 league games of the season. Here comes Erling Haaland, back to Bernardo Silva, and Chelsea scramble it clear. Well, out of nowhere, Erling Haaland found himself in behind there. Here's Doku. 2 in his way as he cuts it back to O'Reilly. That will get City going, that early chance for Haaland. Pretty isolated in the first half, Erling Haaland. Antoine Semenyo cuts it to find Cherki. Cherki fires across. And took a deflection on the way through. Will be a corner. That's the start to the second half. City want real penetration from the wide areas. And Cherki there. His shot across goal deflected behind for the corner, of which he will take, Ryan Cherki. Lifts it in, but doesn't even beat the first man. Well, he will get another go at it as Palmer clears behind for another corner. This time they take it short. Doku trying to take on Palmer, brought down by Palmer. Referee saw no foul. Goal kick it will be. However, they will check it VAR, I think. No, it's not a penalty. Kind of slips over there more than anything, Jeremy Doku. It's not a foul by Palmer. VAR Paul Howard is looking at it, but yeah, it should be easily, quickly checked and cleared. We see a big chance there for Haaland and Doku. Doku cuts inside, finds Haaland. First real time those two have got anywhere near linking up. Haaland just stretches his body, opens his body up, and Jarell Hato got the block. You gotta say though, perfect start to the half for Manchester City. They've come out of the traps flying in the first 3.5 minutes of this second period. Cherki. Charging forward, Cherki wins a corner. Started really well in this second half, Ryan Cherki. Just kept going and going and going there. As we see the Palmer challenge on Doku again. Yeah, it's soft. It's not a penalty. Corner it is then. Left-footed, headed away at the front post. Palmer got something to that, and Chelsea clear away, but again, no way out for the Blues at the minute. It's going to come right back at them here. Rodri. Gerhi finding Ryan Cherki. Down the right side. Nunes finds Semenyo. Trying to hold off Cucurella. Semenyo, a lovely skill to spin on the ball. Finds Matej Nunes. Rodri. Nunes again. Cherki. Semenyo. Cherki flicks one into the box. O'Reilly! Once again, Nico O'Reilly in the danger zone, firing past the goalkeeper, and Manchester City lead. Wonderful cross by Cherki. And a bullet header by Nico O'Reilly. Jolly on the spot at Wembley. And just across the capital city, Nico O'Reilly in the right place at the right time. Like a poacher in the box. Forget about Erling Haaland. Nico O'Reilly was there. And Manchester City are in front. Wonderful delivery. And a banging header. Fabulous from Nico O'Reilly. Coming up clutch again for Manchester City. 3 goals in his last 3 Manchester City games. 4 goal involvements. He is coming up with key moments in big games for City. We talk about players needing to step up when they're needed most. Well, he stepped up there, Nico O'Reilly. And when his team need him, he was there to have the decisive touch. And now we can have another look at that table. And I think Arsenal have a good reason to be worried now. Let's have another look at it. The gap has slightly narrowed. It's now 64 City to Arsenal's 70 points. 6-point gap as it stands at the top of the table. With a game in hand, and they play each other in 7 days' time. If City were to win that game next week and win the game in hand, they would be level on points with Arsenal. That is how huge that goal right now makes the next few weeks. And I have to say, a first 5-6 minutes of the second half that City controlled, dominated, and found the opening goal. A perfect start to the second half for Manchester City, who right from the first minute of the second period were right on top of Chelsea. That's a lovely ball over the top. Semenyo plucked it out of the air, chops back onto his left foot. Semenyo across. Another opportunity for City. What about this ball over the top though? And the touch by Semenyo, sending Cucurella one way then the other. Incredible. And the shot just glided wide, but big chance again for City, but they're all over Chelsea now. I think they'll get the corner out of that situation as well. Corner, right-footed, delivered in, right across goal and headed away by Santos. As Marc Cucurella is given a yellow card for dissent. His 6th yellow card of the season for the Chelsea left-back. Doku. Out wide to Cherki, who's come across to this left-hand side for now. Cherki with the assist, of course, for Nico O'Reilly's goal. Cherki lofting one to the back posts, taken in again by Semenyo. Bernardo Silva, this time reversed it back to Nunes. Now Bernardo Silva, Cherki now. Less than 10 minutes gone in the second half, and City, from being lacklustre in the first period, lacking keen threat in the final third, have come alive. And I'm sure the key thoughts, the main thinking now, will be to try and add to that lead that they've found, City. There's another ball over the top. Cherky makes the run, clicks it back across towards Haaland. And Fofana had to head behind, otherwise he was in danger, and Chelsea were in danger. Another late run in behind the Chelsea defence, and another ball over the top. Cherky flicks across, and Erling Haaland was in the mix. But Fofana had to put behind for the corner. Cherky will come across to take this corner then. Cherky goes short to Doku. Doku tiptoeing towards the box, waiting for Cherky to get into a good position. Closed down well by Jarell Hart, who still has the ball here. Cherky prods it through. The shot! Another goal! Mark Guéhi makes it 2. Manchester City pounce when the iron's hot, and they double their lead. Chelsea, who felt they were hanging on enough and giving City enough of a threat from the first half, have been stunned at the start of this second half. This is what teams that want to win a title start to do. They throw everything they've got at you. And Manchester City, Arsenal have left the door open, and Manchester City have got the crowbar out and are trying to pry it open with everything they've got. And this is unbelievable again from Ryan Cherky. You think he's going to shoot himself. That's closed out by Hato, but he's still got another trick up his sleeve. Waits and waits and waits for the right moment. Finds it through to Mark Guéhi. He's practically unmarked in the box. He makes a tidy finish of it with his right foot to the far corner. Good touch by Guéhi on the half turn, and swept it past Robert Sanchez to double City's lead. That is what you call attacking a title. And City, who were below par in the first half, well, they have certainly hit their stride in the second, and are now running riot at Stamford Bridge again. And now Chelsea have got no choice but to try and become a bit more aggressive of their own volition. They've got no choice now, 2-0 down at home. This is a City team brimming with confidence. A team that, who knows that they've got every opportunity to get as much out of this season as they can in the next few weeks. Still 2 trophies on the line for them. One before this weekend was quite improbable. Now it's quite possible. And if you thought really Chelsea were making it tricky for City, City were technically making it tricky for themselves in that first half. They, by their standards, were below par. They weren't great. They were sloppy in possession, a couple of extra touches, loose play, not much threat from the wide areas, and not much penetration into the box. But they've completely transformed that over half time, and have come out like a different team in the second half. Look at that, they're doing skills on the ball now. Beautiful ball into Semenyo. They have Chelsea at their mercy now, City, and Moises Caicedo giving away the foul on Semenyo. And Ryan Cherky is having fun, to say the very least. He is the difference maker. That's as simple a fact. He creates both goals. And that's what the difference he makes in this team. Doku swings it round the corner. O'Reilly on the underlap. Lifts one into the box towards Haaland. Away by Fofana. Then further cleared by Cucurella, but Rodri's there to send it back the way it came. City want to take all that they can get out of this now. O'Reilly fired across, little Ball finding Doku, trying to return it there was Cherky again. And a foul there by O'Reilly on Estevao. This could be anything between now and the end of the game. And City know as well, goal difference could come into the factor, because as I said, if they both teams, obviously barring next week, if City win next week's game and then thereafter they win the remainder of their games, goal difference could be a decider. Now, I know it's very unlikely, but it's something that could come into question, and at the minute City's is inferior, plus 34 to Arsenal's plus 38, and with a chance to rack up goals, you want to try and add as many as you can here to better your goal difference as best as you can. It might be City's target right now. Now remember as well, there is a lot on the line for Chelsea in this game. That's the vow. Neto just off balance there, couldn't control the ball. As I said, Chelsea have got a top 5 to chase. A win for them would have put them within a point of 5th place Liverpool and right back in the mix for Champions League places. A defeat, I'm sure, will be celebrated by the red side of Merseyside and the claret side of Birmingham, in Aston Villa and Liverpool, who will be very pleased at the moment to see Manchester City winning, not for any other reason than the fact that Chelsea will be losing. And that helps those two teams in their targets of trying to get Champions League football next season. And of course, a defeat for Chelsea puts them right back into the clutches of Brentford, Everton, Brighton, Sunderland and Bournemouth, who are all within 3 points now of Chelsea. That's 5 teams below Chelsea, all within a distance of the Blues. And a team that have been in the top 6 for the vast majority of the season could be pushed into a battle a little bit below that and trying to hold on to 6th place Chelsea. And of course 6th isn't enough for Champions League football. There is a scenario in which it would be, I think, is if Aston Villa win the Europa League, then 6th would be, and it could go down to 7th. If Liverpool win the Champions League and Aston Villa win the Europa League, and they both finish in the top 5, then 6th place and 7th place would be Champions League places. Anyway, Nico O'Reilly, quite unfortunately here, has just been taken off. He went down with an issue and he's gone straight down the tunnel, which is not a good sign. And Ryan Aït-Nouri is on here for Manchester City. So key player in getting this game into City's favour, Nico O'Reilly. He's just gone off. Palmer. Estevao, a chance here for Chelsea. A rare chance in this second half. Santos. Gusto wrestled with Doku, lost in that battle with Doku, and now Doku's away here for City. 4v4. Doku finds Ryan Aït-Nouri. He's seen out by Andre Santos, and it's going to be a free kick anyway to Chelsea. Now, Liam Senior dressed like a top man model on the sideline. Not that I'm dissing him at all, but it looks like there's going to be some movement behind him, and it looks like Alejandro Garnacho is ready and waiting to come on in a moment here for Chelsea, who, remember, are looking to not make it 5 defeats in the last 6 games. At the moment, they're staring down the barrel of that very realistic possibility. As I said, they've lost their last 2 league games without scoring. 3-0 to Everton and then a 1-0 to Newcastle here. Could be on the threat of having another big defeat in the league without scoring, Chelsea. It'll be 3 in a row. Their last win at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea, was back at the end of January. Now, of course, they haven't played many home games since, but here's Cherky across into the hands of Sanchez. Their home form in the league, failed to win any of their last 3 home league games, Chelsea. Drew with Leeds, drew with Burnley and lost to Newcastle. Looks to make it 4 here, possibly. Here's Cucurella finding Palmer! Over the bar. He had to help it along its way over the bar, but over the bar it went. It will be a Chelsea corner. Maybe a little bit of a glimmer that Chelsea want to get back into this game. Corner it will be. Still a long way to go. 24 minutes. Corner swung in. Header by Hato, I think that was it? Ultimately cleared away by Donnarumma. Neto down the left for Cole Palmer. Palmer chops back onto his right foot, then spins back in behind Nunes, and I think the ball had crossed the byline there before he got it in. Goal kick. Chelsea changes then. Garnacho and Lavia, it looks like. So Andre Santos is coming off. Romeo Lavia is coming on for him. And Estevao is going to be replaced by Alejandro Garnacho. So Garnacho and Lavia on. Santos and Estevao off for Chelsea. What can those changes do to Liam Senior's Chelsea? Try and get them back into this game. There's Alejandro Garnacho, has his tricky history with Manchester City, of course, as a former Man United player. And Romeo Lavia, a former Manchester City under kind of academy graduate. Romeo Lavia. Oh, Chelsea get themselves into trouble here. Big chance, 3-0. Jeremy Doku and Manchester City have gone clear. Soaring clear of Chelsea now. A mistake in their own final third. Punished by Jeremy Doku. And Moises Caicedo is the one to give it away. And Jeremy Doku is the one to take it away. City lead by 3-0. And Jeremy Doku celebrates with the very famous pregnancy celebration. Has to be the weirdest celebration ever. Anyway, this is calamitous from Chelsea. Robert Sanchez plays it into Caicedo. I don't know what Moises Caicedo thinks he's doing, but whatever he thinks he's doing, he got it all wrong. And Doku just sneaks up, wins it off him, just shoves him out of the way, and slots home. 3-0. This game surely now well beyond doubt now. After a little decent 1 or 2 moments for Chelsea at the other ends, City have added a third and surely put the game to bed. And someone drinking from an Arsenal bottle in the City end. That's been the theme. That's been the headline. Are Arsenal bottling it again? Well, Manchester City are doing their ever hardest to try their best to get back into this title fight. And they want to make it a fight. And at the minute, the Poznan being done in the away end of Stamford Bridge. They love that, don't they? Absolutely love that. What a second half, though, from Manchester City. I mean, absolutely on another planet from Chelsea here. Completely on a different stratosphere to Chelsea. Palmer, Cucurella, back to Palmer, swung one in towards João Pedro, but just evading the Chelsea centre forward. Yeah, great delivery by Palmer, but again, like a one earlier on in the game towards João Pedro, just ahead of him. 2 big chances he's had today, and he hasn't taken either of them, João Pedro. But if Arsenal were worried before, I think they might be worried now. Very worried. City are scoring goals for fun. Neto, ball across, headed away. Cucurella brought down for Caicedo to hit one. That was blocked. Well, City now have become the league's highest scorers with that third goal. 63 goals compared to Arsenal's 62. And again, it does help in the favour of their goal difference. Plus 35 now as Cucurella has an effort wide. You see it here. Palmer again creating the opportunity. Cucurella having the effort. Flashed right across goal. Issue here for another City player. I think it's Rodri that's down. A little collision with Romeo Lavia. Might have just bent his ankle there. Rodri, so under watch at the moment. See this again. Oh, he just goes over on his ankle there, Rodri. It's a painful one. It's a break in play for the moment. As that City fan that had the Arsenal bottle is now seen his moment on social media, of course. He will be the meme. Loving that City are 3-0 up, obviously, but loving his moment in the spotlight. That City fan in the away end there. Well, good to see Rodri back up on his feet. And he's been, of course, had a few issues with injury in the early part of this season, but he's had a good run of form in the team. City down to 10 for the moment, obviously, with Rodri off the field. Will be a damaging result for Chelsea again. As I said, this will be a fifth defeat in 6 games. And find themselves a bit caught adrift to those top 5 teams. And as I said, slowly dropping into the mix of all those teams below them, Chelsea. Remember, they could have been below 6th if Brentford or Everton had a 1 yesterday, which they drew in their game against each other. And that would be what's keeping Chelsea in 6th at the moment. We talk about the top teams finding another gear to go to, finding a way to just up the tempo, up the level, take it away from their opponents, and City have by far done that in the second half. They've come out and taken it to a whole new level against Chelsea, and Chelsea just haven't been able to cope. Lovely ball over the top here. Doku holding on to the ball. Lays it off to Ait Nouri. To Bernardo Silva. Comfortable just to pop it around now, Manchester City. Excuse me. Just around 15 minutes to go here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3. Kushanov's going to hit one. And that's not too far away. They all want in on the action here, the City players. They just opened up for Kushanov there, and not too far away. Just spun wide of that left post. Not a bad effort from the centre-back there. City got to make some changes. Ryan Cherky's going to be replaced by Phil Foden. Cherky had to make sure he was getting a handshake from the referee there. And Jeremy Doku's been going to be replaced by Savinho. So Cherky and Doku off for Foden and Savinho. And the two key players in changing this game, Ryan Cherky and Doku, off the field. Cherky with the assist for the first two goals. Doku with the third goal for his own. Well, that fan that had the Arsenal bottle, he's now got a Foden shirt on. I mean, incredible. He's got all the bits and pieces with him. Fabulous to see. And it's good that they're enjoying themselves, those City fans. We always talked about a City team that, maybe not recently, or certainly in the last few years, but when Pep Guardiola first came in, they never had a strong start to the season, City, but it was always at the back end of the campaign when they came alive and strung together so many results consecutively. And it feels like they're just starting to hit that form at the right time where they can rhyme off some great results and confidently win games of football. After being knocked out by Real Madrid in the Champions League, it's just given City clear clarity between now and the end of the season. Won in that Carabao Cup final, thumped Liverpool in the FA Cup, and are now easing their way past Chelsea in the Premier League as well. Arsenal up next, obviously, at the Etihad this time next week. Then the midweek after that, they head to Burnley away. And then the FA Cup semi-final against Southampton. And then their final four league games: Everton away, Brentford at home, Bournemouth away, and Aston Villa at home on the final day of the season. That could be a huge game on the final day. If you remember, Manchester City played Aston Villa on the final day when they were going for the title to the final day against Liverpool back in 2022, I think that was. Same will play itself out there on the final day at the Etihad. Who knows, come that date, on the final day of the Premier League, whether City will be leading, trailing, or needing anything on the final day to win the title, or whether it will be Arsenal's by then. But they've certainly given it a good go, City, to make it a dramatic end to the campaign and not allowing Arsenal to run away with it. Arsenal not letting themselves run away with it, it seems. As I said, the title opponents, Arsenal, have got Champions League football to contend with. They've got Sporting in the second leg, albeit they lead 1-0 Arsenal, but they play Sporting on Wednesday night with a chance to go to the semi-finals before they face City next Sunday. So City have the midweek off. Here comes City again. Semenyo gone central this time, right down the throat of the goalkeeper. Yeah, snatched at it a little bit there, Antoine Semenyo. A reminder for you, tomorrow night we conclude match week 32 in the Premier League. Man United against Leeds United at Old Trafford. That's tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Huge game there at Old Trafford. United trying to take real control of third place against Aston Villa, who dropped points today away at Nottingham Forest. And Leeds looking to give themselves a bit of headroom against the relegation battlers. Right, more substitutions. Mateo Kovacic is going to come on and replace Bernardo Silva. And a double change for Chelsea as well. It's going to see the introduction of Liam Delap and Dario Isugo. Joao Pedro is going to be coming off, as is Moises Caicedo. So Caicedo and Pedro replaced by Isugo and Delap. Fofana. Again, they've taken a lot of risks in their own final third, Chelsea. Unnecessary risks as well. That's what led to the third City goal, and Fofana was far from confident there a few minutes ago. Palmer looking for the switch ball. Finding the run of Garnacho. Garnacho back inside to find Lavia. Lavia to Palmer. Hato out wide to Garnacho. Into the box, finds Cucurella, back to Lavia. Lavia flicking it over the top. Cucurella! Great save by Donnarumma. Great save from point blank range from the City goalkeeper. Cucurella laid it off, made that run. No one watched it, no one tracked it. Flick back over the top, and Cucurella getting his head to it. Gianluigi Donnarumma with a fabulous save to deny Marc Cucurella. Cucurella again. There's a foul there right on the edge of the box. Malo Gusto brought down. Chelsea free kick. 7 minutes to go. Chelsea 0, City 3. Even if Chelsea do get a goal late here, you think it might just be a consolation. Poor challenge there from Reinhard Nuri. As Malo Gusto gets back to his feet, slowly but surely, but free kick now for Chelsea. Cole Palmer over it. About 20 yards out. Slightly to the right of goal, so it's a decent opportunity here for Cole Palmer. Can he find the littlest of gaps, Cole Palmer, to try and exploit here? The referee making sure the City wall was set up. 5-man wall for City, plus the draft excluder. Is Palmer. Palmer! Swung it round the wall. Stopped by Donnarumma, who watched it all the way. Yeah, trying to tuck it in that far corner. Cole Palmer, the keeper, confident. Semenyo. Ball drops to Erling Haaland here. Breaking away. Challenged as he charged towards the area. Dario Isugo with the challenge. As Chelsea give it away cheaply. Foden reversing towards Reinhard Nuri. Nuri working himself out of trouble with a bit of skill and whips a cross in that was deflected behind for another City corner. Did really well here, Reinhard Nuri, to work himself out of 2 players pressing him. Nuri will be in no rush to take the corner. City cruising at the moment to what would be a big win. Left-footed delivery, swung all the way through and out the other end of the box. Nunish, out to the right-hand side it comes. Kovacic gives it all the way back to Kushanov. That ball swung out to Nuri. Tried to go over the cross again. Deflected off the head of his opposite number, Jarell Hato. Behind for another corner. Foden will take this corner. Left-footed delivery, flicked onto the near post by Holland, and to lap past it. Rush it out of his own area. And Savinho takes the throw in quickly. City not actually waiting around anymore. Trying to hurry themselves. Maybe sense another goal is on the horizon. Said anything to improve their goal difference. Here's Savinho, he clips one across. Haaland was the target again. And Haaland ultimately fouling Wesley Fofana. Free kick to Chelsea. We'll see another Chelsea sub. Malo Gusto replaced by Josh Achiempong. Rodri. Minute and a half of the 90 to go. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3. As it stands, a result that would put Arsenal back under pressure in this title race. Pressure they haven't known for quite a while. And pressure that City haven't applied in quite a while. Achiempong does well there against Semenyo 1v1. Puts it out for a City throw. We get into the last minute of the game. Of 90 minutes, certainly. Savinho takes on Cucurella. Savinho tries a cross, completely overhits it. Will be found by Nuri on the left. Gerhi again. Kovacic, Foden. Overhead it towards Gerhi. We'll go for a goal kick. And two Peps. Lenders and Pep Guardiola. Watch on as their team. Make in the end easy work of Chelsea. After they up the tempo in the second half. There'll be 8 added minutes. Yes, they love to add time on, don't they? Right, Nuri. All down the sideline there. Too much for Semenyo to try and keep it in play. A reminder of what the table looks like then at the top. What it means, as you can see, it is Arsenal that still lead, but a 6-point gap rather than a 9-point gap at the top. As I said, City still with a game in hand and still to play Arsenal next Sunday at 4:30 at the Etihad. What probably feels like somewhat of a title decider. Haaland had a half chance there. Will City win that? And the game in hand, who knows where we could end up. They're just passing around so effortlessly now, right now, City. Passing around for fun. The Olays have started in the away end. That's how comfortable City are right now. Free kick for City, which they take quickly. 6 minutes to go, and for Chelsea it's now time to refocus and get their heads down on what they need to do between now and the end of the season. Of course, they've got the FA Cup semi-final, but they've got 6 huge league games to come to see where they can end up after 38 games and whether it will be in a Champions League spot or not. And this one, another big blow in that fight for Champions League football. Neto showed too much there, but still going. Cucurella. Garnacho back to Cucurella. Lavia to Palmer. I'll have to say, when it went 3-0, I think a lot of TVs in North London would have switched over to something else. They knew this game was only going one way at that point. They probably felt it at 1-0 that it was only going one way at that point. Man who'd haunted them, Nico O'Reilly, is the one that had given City the lead. Mark Gahey then added a second not long after. And then Jeremy Doku, opportunistic, winning the ball back high up the field, stealing away from Moises Caicedo with a mistake to make it 3. An incredible start to the second half that City more than deservedly stole this game away from Chelsea, wrestled it in their favour and haven't looked back since. And of course, Chelsea have got games against teams that have a lot to still fight for. Man United fighting in the top 5, Brighton in a European fight of their own, Forest in a relegation battle, Liverpool in the top 5, Spurs in a relegation battle, and then Sunderland, who could be fighting for Europe. As lots of teams, all the teams really that Chelsea play, have all got something still to play for. It's not going to be easy for them between now and the end of the season. And those games that were looking like games that they very easily could win, well, hold on a second. City, I think, have been given a corner here because Robert Sanchez held on to the ball too long. And of course now 8 seconds is the limit. You hold the ball for 8 seconds, more than 8 seconds, the opposition gets a corner. That's what City have been given here. Whipped in and headed away, and it's a free kick to Chelsea anyway. Comes to nothing. 2.5 minutes to go. Nice to see an enactment to that from Chris Kavanagh, the referee. And it's good to see Nico O'Reilly on the bench. He went straight down the tunnel after he went off the field earlier on, after he headed in the opening goal. On kick by Sanchez, taken in by Asugo, finding Lavia. Garnacho just about keeping a hold of the ball here for Chelsea into the last 90 seconds. It'll be a 5th home defeat of the season for Chelsea. And languishing around mid-table when it comes to their home form. Manchester City closing Arsenal's gap in the normal table, but also in the away form table. They've picked up the 2nd most points away from home this season, Manchester City. 28 points it would be now. This will be their 8th away win of the season, only bettered by Arsenal, who have 9 away wins. 28 points they've picked up on the road, and they've scored the 2nd most goals away from home this season. Chelsea actually have the most goals away from home this season of any team in the Premier League. Another defeat for Liam Rossignol. He's kind of hit the sticky spell in charge of Chelsea. Some tough games for him. Tough results to take as well. It's 5 defeats it will be now in 6 games. The only win was the 7-0 against Port Vale here last weekend. I mean, that's against a team bottom of League One. As there's the final whistle. Manchester City's chase is on. Arsenal are the ones to be worried, I'm sure. A big swing in the title race this weekend. City winning, pouncing upon Arsenal losing. And it means they go into their matchup next week with a 6-point gap. And if City come away with all 3 next week, then it really is a tasty run to the finish line between these two again. Whether City can snatch it again from Arsenal is still to be decided, but they've certainly put one step in the right direction, and a massive second half where they tore Chelsea to pieces in a 15-minute spell. Oh, Nico O'Reilly with the opener. Mark Guehi then doubled that lead before Jeremy Doku added a 3rd. Another defeat for Chelsea. 5 in their last 6 games now for Liam Rossignol. And they've lost grip on the top 5. They now sit 4 points adrift on the same number of games as those in the top 5. And have got a few problems and a few teams behind them too. Big win for Pep Guardiola's side. And a damaging defeat for Chelsea in their objectives. The away end at Stamford Bridge is bouncing. They know that this could be a very exciting end of the season, and a domestic treble could very much be on for Manchester City. The Carabao Cup in the bag, the FA Cup, they're going to Wembley for the semi-finals, and the Premier League title is not done and dusted just yet. Final score at Stamford Bridge, it's finished Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3. And that's is the conclusion of the Sunday action in the Premier League. One more game to come for you this weekend. Manchester United taking on Leeds tomorrow night, and we will recap all of the results and what it means for the table and all the big talking points from this weekend tomorrow as United host Leeds. But certainly beware Arsenal, because Manchester City have hit stride again and they're coming for that title. Good night.